Good morning. I'm just setting up here. I'll just be a minute. So there we go. All right, well, thank you for joining me for Yoga for Home Practice. We're going to start in a chair, but of course you're welcome to sit on the ground. A couple of the props that we'll use are blocks. So 1 or 2 blocks if you have them available. A strap. I've got a blanket that I'm sitting on. And if you have a bolster, that would be great too. So I have to apologize for the video angle. I'll get that sorted in a moment. I thought I was going to be able to use a different mobile device for this, but it didn't work out. So go ahead and just take a moment here. We're going to start after I lift this up. Should work a little bit better. There we go. Okay, here we go. Okay, so the idea of yoga for a home practice is that you're going to be able to do something that's both seated or on the ground. Very simple moves that you can incorporate into your daily life. And also, we're going to use some mudra, which is our yoga of the hands, or it can be in the mouth. And also a little bit of mantra or positive affirmation. So what I'll ask you to do is just start to create your comfortable seat. So that might be seated with the feet planted. I've got one of my buddies. Or maybe you're on the floor, but go ahead and just look around and notice your environment. So take a moment to just orient yourself in relation to the walls, other objects, or if you're like me and have a pet close, just go ahead and orient yourself. You can always do this with the back against the wall too, if that makes you feel more comfortable. And then if you're seated in the chair, you'll let your feet heavily plant. If you're on the floor, you might just want to pull the sits bones away. Close the eyes and just get used to your body in this position. Starting to think about the weight of your body dropping down. So if it's the feet, feeling a little bit heavier in the feet. If it's the sits bones, a little bit heavier in the sits bones. What naturally happens is that the spine starts to curl in. So we'll use breath with your inhale, growing a little bit taller through the crown of the head. And your exhale, your feet are getting heavier, whatever's touching the floor. Now you don't have to close the eyes. You could look at the floor or something that's a really kind of boring. If you're looking at me, maybe you want to look at the floor where I am or behind my shoulder. Taking a breath and settling. And starting to transition, knowing that you are now going to begin your practice. So just take a moment and feel the heaviness of the body towards the ground. Take a moment to scan everywhere that's touching the floor. And then take a moment to notice the space between yourself and the floor. And we're going to practice a back breath. So as you inhale, you'll feel that the back side of the body is expanding. And as you exhale, soften through the tailbone and the lower back. Inhaling into the back side of the body and exhale. Let everything drop. Take another 3 breaths like that. encouraging softness. And then see if you can become aware of the floor of the mouth. And allow the floor of the mouth to become soft and heavy, maybe allowing the jaw to come slightly away and down. And maybe notice how, as you release and become aware of the floor of the mouth, that the sacrum also releases, that you can feel more heaviness down towards the ground. And we'll try and keep this openness in the mouth and softness of the features of the face throughout your practice. And just go ahead and let your hands drop down. So if you're seated, then your hands might be on the floor, and if you're seated in a chair, just letting them kind of dangle down. And start to nod your head. We're just checking out the range of motion of the neck. And you may even want to pair this movement with breath. It would be inhale and open across the throat, and an exhale, nodding down. We're going to be working from the head down to the feet, checking in with mobility. Maybe one more nod. And then bring the head back to center, and you're simply going to look left and right, like you're drawing a line with the nose. As you can see, I've got a little space between the teeth. Maybe you're drawing a line shorter or longer than mine, more quickly or more slowly. Now the next time that you're looking to the right, you're going to let the right ear drop to the right shoulder. So if you're on the ground, you might crawl the opposite fingertips away. And if you're in the chair, maybe you want to wrap the hand underneath the seat to give a little bit of dynamic tension. But we're not trying to pull through and into a new sensation, just trying to explore what you've got going on right now. If you feel comfortable with a rotation in the neck from here, you could draw another short line looking up towards the ceiling and then back down towards the floor. As we start to open all of these different centers in the body, opening up through the neck and the throat here, preparing for our vocalization, soft vocalizations that will be coming up. And after this last round, you can release, and then unwinding slowly, draw your line off to the left. Let the shoulder and ear drop towards one another. Maybe you're gripping to the floor, walking the fingertips away, or holding on to the bottom of your chair if that's available. And again, 4 or 5 rotations, looking down and up. Just remembering you're moving from your body today. So whatever's been going on, honoring these motions just for today. Could look different tomorrow. You feel different tomorrow, and maybe you did this yesterday and it felt different. We'll move back to center. And then just shrug the shoulders up to the ears and let them fall back down. And as you're shrugging your shoulders, you can squeeze the armpits. Little Scotchy is getting himself all ready to hang out here. Oh, he's going to play with the other dog. So maybe 4 or 5 more of these, squeeze and release. And then let the arms drop down. We're going to interlace the fingers and just draw some figure eights with the wrists. Lots of us have been seated at desks or crunched over a computer more than we're used to. Just let your interlaced fingers kind of twirl around and then go the other way. We're going to continue to work through the arms. I really like this next one. We're going to press away like you're trying to push the wall away, which means that your shoulders are going to slide out. And I'll just turn to the side so you can see. So you see how they slide out, but I'm keeping my back straight. And then we're going to inhale, make little kitty claws and pull back. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and then exhale. Press forward. Inhale, kitty claws, squeeze. Exhale, press. Keep going. So if you're someone that does a lot of those chaturangas or moving from high plank to the ground, you'll know that this is the same virtual motion that we do for that. Just warming up the shoulders. Big breaths. And you could even start to pump through the stomach if you would like a little bit more heat. So many variations we can take in these different simple movements. So an exhale would be drawing the navel in and up. Let's just do 3 more. And then go ahead and shake the arms out. Maybe you're feeling that up into the forearms. It's kind of amazing how those simple motions will activate different parts. Whoa, shake, 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 shake. So we're going to reach the arms out to the side now. And the same idea as you press away. And it's okay if there's a little bit of bend in the elbow, but see if you can roll the shoulders down and away. So we're going to use this motion. And look left and right just to open up underneath the armpit. And maybe you can feel that all the way through the armpit and from the tips of your fingers, really getting into the nervous system. And then we're going to pause in the middle and feel free to let the head drop slightly because we're going to flick. Hopefully you can hear that. Fingernails on the hands and flick. There are lots of reasons that we do this. Yes, it's great for the muscles, but it's also really great for releasing excess energy and charging our energetic sphere that we all live in. And from here, now once it starts to get slightly challenging, so you can reconnect with whatever's touching the floor. And we're going to take those long, deep breaths into the backside of the body again. And soften at the tailbone. Keep flicking if you can. Feel free to take a break. That's perfectly fine. And if it's available, 5 more of these long, deep breaths. Last inhale and exhale. And now we'll let the hands rest on tops of the legs, palm facing up. And just enjoy the tingling sensation. Take a moment to enjoy these movements in the body and how they charge and activate. Checking back in with the heaviness through the low half of the body. Releasing at the floor of the mouth. And you're more than welcome to keep the hands there as we begin to vocalize, or you could take the hands to over the chest or a hand to the chest and the belly. You can always explore through the different sounds how that feels. We're going to start by vocalizing the sound ah. So we'll take a deep inhale through the nose and sigh out ah. Ah. 2 more times ah. Ah. Another ah. Pause. And then we'll vocalize ooh 3 times. Ooh sound. Ooh. Noticing this different vibration in the body. Ooh, 2 more times. Ooh. Ooh. And the last one is Mm. 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 I just love how that vibrates in my mouth and my head. And we'll put the 3 sounds together so they make the formation A-U-M, 3 times. Oh. Again, just enjoying the sensation and vibration throughout the body. And we'll continue to work down the spine. So go ahead, maybe you need a little stretch or roll after the vocalization, and we're going to take a seated cat-cow. So if you're in the chair, you're just going to take the hands to the thighs. If you were on the floor, you can also do this in the chair. Take your block and soles of the feet together, knees apart for your cat-cow in a Baddha Konasana. But make it your own, so you could plant the feet however it feels nice to you. And just like before, shift and change if you need to. If you enjoy, so we're going to work through our cat-cows, tucking at the tailbone, rolling through the spine. Feel free to explore this in a different way. Like I said, this is a practice that you could do every day and just start to play with, because it's your own home practice. Think about rolling from the tailbone and up through the crown of the head. And I'll turn to the side one more time so that you can kind of see what I'm talking about as we're leading from the tailbone, rolling forward and back. So if you're someone that has less mobility in the lower portion of the body, maybe even you've don't have access to movement through the legs. And so this could work from the upper body as well. You can also get a little bit more movement in the upper spine if you have the ability to bring the arms up rather than the hands on the thighs. So many options. And I also encourage everyone to go ahead and use these motions to teach to friends and family if it's beneficial for you. So you start to pass on all of this stuff. Try and build our bigger community. Go ahead and take a few more cat-cows. Then we'll pause in the middle. So if you are on the floor, I just ask that you bring your block out in front. We're going to do a little massage for the foot. And those of us that might be in the wheelchair or not have the capacity to feel very much in the feet, this is still good for getting into those muscles, and so you can use whatever force that you need to. But we'll turn our block onto the corner, and we're just going to do a little foot massage here. So you could lift and lower the heel. And again, just to enjoy a foot massage on one side. So if you're able to get into between the toes, feels really nice. And we're getting some motion in the ankle. I've got really problematic bunions, so this is a great one for me personally, so I can get some motion and movement happening on those feet. You can squint your way up to the sole of the foot, but just have some fun here. Another option would be, oh, the dog's taking it, would be to get, I'm going to pick up his tennis ball. He's going to get so mad at me. That would be do the same thing with a tennis ball, where you could put the tennis ball and massage the foot with the tennis ball. But we've got our block here as well. Go ahead and switch sides. I can see him eyeing me. What are you doing with my toy? And remember, different side of the body, so maybe you want to take a little bit different motion here as you massage, putting pressure on this foot in a different way, using the corner, maybe even getting into between the toes. If you like the tennis ball, you get that tennis ball out again. Okay. And then we're going to put our block out in front. So those of you that are on the floor, you can do this in a similar way, but we'll plant the feet out in front. And if you're in the chair, maybe you want to scoot forward a little bit. I'm just going to scoot back so you can still see me. And we're going to let the legs windshield wiper back and forth. If you're seated, you'd be with their feet on the floor. Same idea. We're going to windshield wiper back and forth. And we're going to turn this into a pinwheel pose. If you're on the floor, next time that the right knee comes down, you'll stay there. If you're seated, just going to make this shape here with both knees facing the same direction. And go ahead and forward fold over that front leg. If you're up in the chair, maybe you want to place the forearm on top of the thigh and start to reach forward. If you're on the ground, you can play with maybe walking the fingertips back towards the knee or more towards the foot. And then we'll unwind ourselves, lifting the chest, roll back and forth, and off to your second side. Forward fold. Remember, different side of the body. Maybe you want to do something a little bit different on this side. You can reach. It's just 5 breaths. And then come on back up. Now, if you're on the floor, now's a great time to roll forward onto your belly as we practice some cobra. If you're in the chair, we're going to do the same thing seated, where you'd place the hands, if you're on your floor, go onto the belly, and we're going to slide the hands underneath the shoulders to set up. For those of us in the chair, we're going to take the hands back to the tops of the thighs. And then we're all going to take a deep breath in. And then as you exhale, press the floor away, press the thighs away, and peel the chest forward and up. Squeezing those shoulder blades down and away, hugging the elbows in. Big breath in. Those of you that are on the floor, make sure that you still have contact with the tops of the feet and the ground. Another inhale. And then exhale. Relax. Bringing the hands to the forehead if that's useful. If you're on your belly, looking left and right, or if you're up, you can come forward. Rock the forehead into the hands and look left and right to release the neck. And then we'll slide the hands back up if you're on the floor. Shift your weight back to child's pose. And for those of us in the chair, our child's pose, soles of the feet together, knees apart, and let the upper body fold forward. Again, maybe you want to take the hands to the forehead. If you wanted to have it a little bit more active, you'd reach the arms out in front to hover. So you're certainly using your core and your back here. One more inhale and exhale. And then you'll peel yourself up. Those of you on the floor, go ahead and swing the legs back around. And we'll all pick up our strap. If it's useful, maybe you want to loop, have a nice big loop. And here we can use, again, some props. If you have the bolster and you want to bring it out in front, even if you're on the floor, go right ahead. We're going to bring the right leg out in front and strap the sole of the foot. So one option would just be to hold on to the right leg. Then you could bring that top foot in if you're on the floor. If you have your chair here, it's propping in a way that feels good for the opposite foot. We're going to lift the chest and fold forward. Remember that connection with the low half of the body, everything that's touching the floor. And also if you're in the chair, another variation would be to lift the leg or pressing out. And think about releasing the top of the thigh as you fold forward. Counterbalancing. Continually making micro adjustments to stay balanced in the body. One more inhale and exhale. And then we'll let that right leg come down. Maybe you want to shake it out. And we'll switch sides. Foot to the ground, lifted, whatever variation. Pressing out, big inhale, and exhale, come forward. So I always recommend that if you're someone that always practices on the floor, every once in a while picking up the chair, exploring these motions that maybe you've been doing for a long time, just exploring them in a different modality. One more inhale and exhale. And then we'll let that leg come down. Great. Roll through the ankles and the wrists. As we move on to our warrior series. Warrior in the chair. And I'll demo both warrior in the chair and standing. So warrior in the chair. We're going to turn to the right and step our opposite leg back. Option 1, block underneath the knee. Option 2 is to press out. Okay, so this is our high lunge or warrior 1 in the chair. And warrior 1 standing. Go ahead and make your way to standing. If you're coming up, go ahead and find your high lunge warrior. Okay. Take a couple of knee bends to open up the back of the leg. And then we're going to reach out. Take 3 more breaths here. We're almost pushing ourselves off of the chair, just using it as a stabilizer. And then we'll come down. If you're standing, just go ahead and switch sides. That's what we'll do in the chair. Just switch, take a moment, set up maybe a knee on the block, extending the arms, and then if you felt ready to press back and maybe hover. So we're using our warrior 2 arms, but in a high lunge. Continue to use the platform of that front foot. Big inhale, exhale. And release, come back to center. If you're standing, we'll take a standing forward fold. If you're in the chair, legs nice and wide. Forward fold, you've got your block here. You can either bring the hands to the block and drop down, or to the floor. Again, checking out what's great for your mobility today, and we'll have 3 breaths. Slide the hands up to the thighs or the hips and press yourself up. We're going to come back to our warrior series and shift to the right side. And this time a side angle pose. So we'll slide the forearm on top of the thigh, extend that back leg, and then reach up and over. Compress the ground away. Maybe you want to rotate that back foot if you have the mobility to come up, or stay with a hand and the body weight on your chair. Creating a variation of side angle pose, that long line along the left side body. 3 more breaths. And unwind. We'll shift to our second side. Forearm on top of the thigh. You can check to see that the knee and the ankle are in one line as you press down in a way to float. Reach that top arm up. Tailbone tucked. Lengthening, about lengthening. And back down. If you're standing, maybe you just want to do a little hip wiggle. If you're in the chair, could windshield wiper the knees back and forth. So I have my blanket underneath, so I'm really nice and swishy here. And we'll step back up with wide leg. So standing, you can hover and be in our high deity pose, or seated on the chair. I like doing this on the chair. And this time we're going to take the forearm on top of the right thigh and reach to the side. So notice in either seated or standing that you're counterbalancing weight as you pour off to the right by really pressing into the sole of the left foot. So you can think about breathing more into that left side body. Maybe look up and down. Pressing the body into the thigh to lift up. And then we'll work through center. Bring the arms out to our cactus shape, high deity. Switch sides. Feed the arm on top of the thigh. Counterweight, big breaths. Remembering that softness at the floor of the mouth. And back up. If you're standing, again, shake out, seated. We're going to come back to center. If you're standing for our tree pose, perhaps you want to use a block underneath your standing foot, the foot that's going to balance. And you can also do this in the chair. Let's start with a nice tall spine wherever you are. We're going to hug the right knee into the chest. And then plant the big toe ball mound on the ground and turn the knee out to the side. So our seated tree pose could look like this. Our seated tree pose, we could heel toe, foot in, and here we are. Maybe bring the arms up. Maybe you want to slide the foot up. Remember to press the leg into the foot and the foot into the leg. So we're still activated, counterbalancing anything that feels pretty inert. We want to bring some action. And then wherever you are, knee to the chest. Step down, shake and wiggle yourself out. Second side. Push down into your standing leg. Roll to the toe ball mound. Knee out to the side. Maybe you want to heel toe if you're seated. Your standing leg more into the center. And then we'll press the hands to the heart this time. So even seated, I'm activating, I'm rolling my inner thighs together, I'm pressing down and lifting through the crown of the head. Maybe even bring the arms back out. Another breath. And here we go, unwind, left knee into the chest and come down. Okay, we're gonna prep ourselves for sun salutation. Standing, feel free to walk towards the top of your mat. And here we are in the chair, very similar sun salutation in the chair. We're gonna add some side bends in. Let's start with the arms down, just where we began. You can close the eyes. Create that balance sensation in the body. Maybe that means rocking forward and back and left and right until you can feel balanced. And then we're going to inhale, sweep the arms up and gather. Bring the arms above the head or right over the chest, up to you. And then exhale, press away and fold forward. So we're pressing, remember at the top of class we had that pressing sensation, press down and fold. Inhale to a halfway lift in the chair, just lift, tucking the chin. Exhale, fold. If you're stepping back, go ahead and step the right foot back. If you're in the chair, we're going to lift the chest and hug the knee into the chest. So either the right foot back to low lunge, and then forward fold, stepping the feet back together to the top of the mat, or forward fold in the chair, feet down. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. We're going to rise. Inhale, gather, rise. And the arms up. Exhale, press down, fold. Second side. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold. This time the left foot steps back or lift, left knee into the chest or left knee low lunge. Big breath in. And exhale, step the feet back to the top or fold. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. And inhale, rise to gather. And the hands come down. Adding in the side bends. Either sweep the arms above the head or reach down towards the right as we sweep the left arm up and over. Counterbalance wherever you are. Inhale, center. Exhale, switch. Inhale, center. And exhale, either hands can hold on to your chair or to the hips as you keep the low half of the body flat and lift, squeeze the shoulder blades together, find your back bend. Enjoying the stretch across the chest. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Same thing. This time, knee back. Right knee lift. And fold. Halfway lift. And fold. Press the ground away to rise. Arms down. Second side, we'll go to the left. Inhale up. Exhale. Come up and off to the left. Counterbalance. Inhale, center. Up and off to the right. Inhale, center. We're going to create our back bend. Reaching down, opening across the collarbone. If that feels like it's too much for the neck, then just look forward a little bit, engaging the deep throat muscles. Another inhale. Exhale. Draping forward. Halfway lift, inhale. Remember, we're leading with the left. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot back or hug the left knee into the chest as we lift. Breath in, breath out, traveling to the top of the mat. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale to rise. And the hands come down. Just pause here, enjoying the sensations throughout the body. If you're standing, go ahead and heel toe the feet wide and drop down into a squat. If you're in your chair, we're going to heel toe the feet wide. And if it's available, you're going to bring the blocks with you. So they could be medium height, low height, or we can turn the blocks all the way up to create our malasana. Wherever you are, we're going to snuggle the elbows in so we get this dynamic tension. It's really kind of fun to look at in that chair, when I'm sitting in the chair. They press out and in at the same time, and those thumbs parallel to one another. Maybe they touch the chest. Again, searching to find places where you can create more stability and balance. And then we're going to try and lift the pelvic floor. So pretend like you really have to go to the bathroom and you're not allowed to. Lift everything up, and we're going to hold as we inhale. And then exhale and release the pelvic floor. 4 more times like that. Inhale, lift and hold. Exhale, release. Remember to soften the floor of the mouth so we're not making our tight faces. Lift and hold. Release. Last one. Lift and hold. And release. Find your way back to your comfortable or at least supported seat. One last hip stretch before we get into our final mudra and pranayam. Just a simple figure 4. Whatever variation you like. You could do seated, crossing the left ankle over the right knee, either in the chair or if you're on the floor, same idea. We just want to make sure we've got enough room for the hip so that the knee of our standing leg is in line with the hip. Maybe you want to take a block and put a little pressure. That might be enough for you. Or the forearm and forward fold. And notice where you're engaging that's unnecessary. Maybe it's in the bottom or the jaw. The head be heavy. You can always capture the forehead. And those of you that are seated, maybe you want to go the other direction. Plant the hands behind you and lift the chest. And so many beautiful variations for all of these different shapes. Wherever you are, 4 more breaths. Just enjoying the breath traveling along the back side of the body. Go ahead and unwind. Twist the leg back down. Maybe you just want to wiggle. Maybe you want to hold on to the backs of the thighs and roll back. Nice back adjustment. Switch sides. And recall that you don't need to do the same thing on both sides. Maybe you want to take the back bend here. Different side of the body, different hip. It might ask for a little different variation. And try and hold for 8 breaths. We're at 2. Two more inhales and exhales. And come on back up. Roll through the body. And now create your comfortable seat. I'm going to use since I have it, my bolster underneath my feet and cross the legs. So take about 5 to 10 seconds to create your stable seat again. And we're going to use the Pushan Mudra with our mantra / just positive affirmation to close class. And I won't be mirroring you. I've been mirroring for the class, but you're going to take your right hand and palm facing up. And you have a couple of options here. You can bring the pinky and the ring finger to touch with the tip of the thumb, or switch, and it's the middle finger and pointer finger, and you have the hand just resting on the top of the knee. So you can play around, go ahead and play around, decide which one feels better. For me, it just depends on the day, the time, what I've been doing with my hands. But they're both a mudra for cleansing the body, activating through the digestive system or through the lungs. And then our left hand, I always think this is kind of funny. You're going to take the thumb to the middle and ring finger, and I always think of like the shadow puppet dog. But we're going to fold that in. So it's also kind of like the I love you. And we'll have the palm face up again. And so we are drawing energy up from the earth through the right side of the body, and then letting that energy drop back down into the earth through the left. This is for cleansing. So a mantra that might be useful for you is I inhale to cleanse and exhale release, or inhale to nourish and exhale to cleanse. Take a moment to decide what feels right for you, and if just one word works best, it should just be nourishment or cleansing or release. And once you get settled here, and tap back into that low portion of the body, anchoring the tailbone down like an unfurling root. And we'll breathe in through the right and imagine that we're breathing out through the left. Inhale, cleanse, exhale, release, or nourish and cleanse. Settling the tongue, the floor of the mouth, the eyes and the features of the face. See if you can settle into this mantra. Feel the breath moving through the body. Allowing all other sounds to move to the periphery. Staying with your practice, with awareness, the breath. Two more breaths. And then you can release the mudra. Roll through those wrists again, maybe through the neck and the shoulders. Any way that feels good for you. And to close class, we're going to spread the arms wide. Big inhale, open. Give yourself a nice big hug. Let the chin drop to the chest. And a breath of gratitude for yourself. Thanking yourself for taking time for a mini practice. Then we open the arms wide again. Opposite arm on top, a breath of gratitude. Sending it out to each other, thinking about all those people that are practicing in their own way with us right now. And then we open the arms wide. Place the hands on top of the heart as we send deep gratitude, honoring this lineage of yoga and these practices that have traveled over thousands of years, so many variations and diversities of people, bodies, languages, places on the earth. Acknowledging that we have the honor and privilege of working with them today. I hope you enjoyed this time and that you have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for joining.